Howdy, y'all. Welcome to the Yak Legion Podcast. Me and Brian are here tonight with Cher Karbassian. She is a Texas angler. She's a Hobie gal, loves her Hobie kayaks, and she's an awesome bass fisherman, bass angler. I've been excited to have you on the show. I follow you on Facebook, and I'm always impressed with what you catch and what you pull out of the water down there in Texas. So, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, no problem, no problem. Um, so, how long have you been fishing out of a Hobie kayak?
Out of a Hobie kayak, I would
Yeah.
say probably since January.
Okay.
Since
What?
January, I scored. I actually got a good deal on a kayak and made my entrance into the Hobie world.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. That's awesome. I just got my first Hobie in February.
Oh
I
yeah.
think I think it was the end of February, the beginning of March. I got mine, and I went from a Perception Striker, which is not a very comfortable kayak, especially for a big guy like myself. And so I went with the Hobie PA because I like that extra room, the extra stability.
Yep.
And I got mine for Strictly Sail and Kayak here in Cincinnati, out here in Blue Ash, Ohio, and they've been real good to me. A lot of Hobie dealers they're good people. It's a good brand, and I'm happy to be somewhat associated with them.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. It is definitely the top of the line. I mean, I will search no further. I'm done.
Awesome, awesome. So, what kind of fishing do you do? I know you catch a lot of largemouth bass. Are you river fishing, lake fishing? You in a pond?
I do all three.
Oh
I do
yeah,
all three.
yeah,
Whatever that day entails, wind wise, location, how far I can go, the time that I have. That's what lets me know what I'm going to be doing for the day. It's either river, the lake, or the pond.
What's your
oh
favorite body of water?
Oh, that's tough. I, you know, I've been doing a lot of river fishing and I absolutely love it just because it's so shallow in areas that you can see the fish, you can see everything. It's just so beautiful to be out there and be a part of it that I think it just takes me to a whole different place.
wow. What
That
part of Texas are you mostly fishing, or where are you from?
DFW area, Dallas Fort Worth.
Okay, nice. So when you're fishing rivers, do you fish for smallmouth? Or do you fish for largemouth?
Mainly largemouth. I mean, I have not caught a smallmouth yet. I would love to
Wow.
get my hands on one of those. My husband has actually caught one out of one of the rivers we fished, but whatever I can catch. I mean, I just go out there for the sport of fishing. It's just a good time to be away and peaceful, to be off my phone, not think about work, not
Yeah.
think about bills, not think about anything but catching fish.
Oh yeah. I'm all about that.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot of large smallmouth in those rivers down there.
I assume there is. I
Yeah.
haven't I haven't found them yet.
Oh, I got you. I got you. What's your biggest largemouth?
6 pounds, 1 ounce. That was this year.
Oh wow. Where'd you catch it at? River, pond, or lake?
Actually, it's called Wheeler Branch Reservoir. It's in Glen Rose, Texas. It's it. I could say it's a lake, but they don't allow motorized boats out there, so it's mainly for kayaks and anything that's small enough to have a trolling motor. But it's beautiful, clear, clear, clear water.
What'd you catch him on?
I caught him on a fluke.
Oh wow. What color?
It was It's called smoke and silver with the tail dipped in garlic.
Oh wow. That's pretty interesting.
And chartreuse garlic.
What
huh?
typically? Do you have something, Brian?
No, no, not yet. I was going to ask, what lures do you like to use or normally use? Like, what's your go-to lure?
My go-to is the fluke. That's everybody calls me the fluke queen because I probably catch 98% of my fish on the fluke. and I just do it. Sometimes it's all Texas rig, but it's weightless, or sometimes I will use a belly weighted hook with a 16th ounce, and I just fish very slow. I'm not a fast fisherman. I slow fish, but it works for me.
I got you. So you're a finesse fisherman for bass. Flukes are great for that.
Well, it's funny. Everybody says finesse, but I use my 17-pound test on my bait caster with my fluke.
Oh, wow. What kind of equipment you running? Like what rods and reels do you typically use?
I have Luz, and then I have my Shimano, the Tranks, the smaller Tranks. I love that. That's got my braid on it, but because it's out in the clear water, I don't really use my braid out there very much. I've just recently started doing a light finesse tackle. I've got a Shimano rod with some of these reels we've had for years back when I used to bass fish. When we just bank fish, just had it laying around. I thought, oh, I'm going to put this on the Shimano the rod, and it's worked out perfect. I've been doing the drop shot and the Ned rig, and that's been working out great.
Wow, that's awesome.
I use a lot of Luz products. That's probably my favorite rod and reel. Either one. I'll use the Luz rod or the Luz reel or combos. That's my favorite.
Yeah, they're great. It's a great product. I mean, I got it for Christmas one year, and I've stuck with it. I have it on a Berkeley lightning rod. I mean, I think we spent like $40 on it, but it's been great for me. It works perfect.
Really,
And then
I've gone through 2 of those this year. Those Berkeley lightning rods, and they both broke. Not a big fan of the lightning rod.
Really? I have had no problems at all with mine. I've had it for probably 2 years now.
Oh, wow. Maybe you're just a little rough with your gear, Brian.
Maybe, but see, I still have Berkeley cherry wood that for an ultralight setup that I used to fish with a lot, and I love that, and that was the reason I bought the lightning rod. But not a big fan of the lightning rods.
Yeah, everybody's got a different preference of anything,
Right.
but for me, I just wanted to fish, and it was just whatever was going to be cost effective for me at the moment. And that happened to be the rod that I could get, and I got it. And like I said, I got the Luz, the reel, and put that on there, and it's worked out perfect.
Awesome.
Wow.
To each their own, I guess.
Oh, yeah. So you mentioned earlier that you started off bank fishing. When did you step into the kayak world?
Exactly 2 years ago. My husband wanted to get into kayak fishing because we were at a pond bank fishing, and he said, I want to be out there. And I wanted to have a boat so bad. And I went out of town. He called me and he said, I got a kayak. And him and my daughter went out, and he sent me pictures of them catching fish. I was like, what? That's not fair. So the second I got home, he took me, it was a tandem kayak that he got. And as soon as I got on the water and how close I was to the water, I went, okay, I want one. And then I got me a Vibe yellow fin. That was my very first kayak, and had that, and then moved up to the New Canoe Frontier 12. Absolutely love that because I had so much space, and the seat was, a 360 seat. It was phenomenal, but I had to load and unload that thing by myself sometimes, so it made it really hard. And then I got into the Hobie and fell in love with the Hobies.
Yeah, they're awesome. What was your first Hobie?
The Hobie 2018 Outback.
Oh, nice. You liking that? I take it.
Well, I just upgraded to the 2019, and I absolutely love that kayak. Holy moly, that thing is phenomenal.
There's a big difference between the 18 and the 19.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
Because when I was testing them out over the winter before I bought mine, I got in the 18 and went around the little kiddie pool they had set up at the boat show. And man, I was just really unstable in that thing. I got in the 19 and all the differences in that. It's bigger, it's wider, it's more stable. There's more options. It's awesome kayak.
Yeah, I didn't think that I could like anything more than my 18, but boy, when I got in the 19, I went, holy moly, this is amazing.
Mhm.
Well, that's awesome. So how many years total you think? Were you fishing before you got married, or you just kind of got into it when you got married?
No, actually, I grew up fishing. I grew up in New Mexico, trout fishing,
Uh,
and did that for many years. And then when I moved to Texas, my husband introduced me to bass fishing. And like I said, we just did a lot of bank fishing here and there. And we did it quite often, but it wasn't until 2 years ago when I got on the kayak that I got addicted. I'm obsessed. I'm a little obsessed about it.
So does he still kayak fish quite a bit?
Yes, he does.
Oh, I gotcha. So you guys are like a team out there on the water slaying the bass.
Yeah, I mean, I do it a lot by myself. He works a little more than I do, but as much as we can, we try to get out there together. I like being out there with him, but he is my teammate when we're out there together for sure.
Do you guys do any tournaments?
No, actually, I have done one online tournament that they did, and I actually won it. It was
Wow.
fun. Yeah, it was a good time. I just did it for fun. You know, it was the tournament was called Dinkapalooza. And at the time, the pond that I was fishing, I was like, oh, I can do this. Dinks, I can catch dinks all day. So I entered the tournament and won it.
So you
But
got the smallest fish?
it was actually, you know what? This fish had to be, I think the smallest, it was anywhere from 16 to 20 inches, I think,
Oh,
if I
okay.
remember correctly. And, you know, I don't think, 18, 19, maybe it was up to 18 inches. But, they were like tiny, tiny, tiny fish. But I caught a ton of them. I caught,
Wow.
a whole mess of them.
19s and 20s they're hard to find up here in Ohio. Yeah, you guys have a lot better bass fishing than we do.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, you guys have it good down there in the south. Those southern breed of the bass down there and the Florida strains that survive in a lot of those lakes there's some big ones down there.
Yeah, up here the 19s will be normally big bass in our tournament, anywhere from 18 to 20 inches, and a couple of 19s will probably win a tournament around here.
Oh,
I think our last
wow.
was a 19, 2 18s, and a 17, and that's what won the tournament.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, there is 25-inch bass up here. I do know they exist. I just did a podcast with the Fry brothers, and both of them in the last 2 years have caught a 10-pound bass each. And
Wow.
they're throwing those big swim baits. Their episode actually airs this Monday, and they actually gave me one of those big baits to try at Gunnersville. So I know I'll probably air this episode after my trip to Gunnersville. So maybe we'll find out if I catch any big bass on that sucker. I'll have to bring it
Yeah.
up in the comments in the next episode in the show notes or something.
Heck yeah, that's awesome.
Sweet. Well, let's take a little commercial break, and when we get back, we'll go into few games, a little bit of story time, and then maybe shout out to some of your sponsors.
Awesome.
Sound good?
Sounds great.
All right, we're back. So back to that dink contest. So me and Brian both we were thinking that you're talking about like catching small fish, and I imagine that might be a cool idea. Do a tournament where the slot limit is 8 inches to 12 inches.
13 inch, yeah, that's what I
13.
8 to 13 or something like that. But what you're saying, your dinks are like donkeys around here.
Well, like I said, I might not be perfectly correct on if it was all the way up to 18 inches, but it was somewhere around 13 to 18, something like that. But I caught over 300 inches, and it wasn't just a day tournament. It was multiple days that we had to do it.
And what did you think of the tournament style fishing?
It was very challenging. For one, since I had never done it before, it was learning how to figure out keeping those fish on the boards without flopping off, because I lost quite a few that I didn't get to get pictures of. And making sure the mouth is, the mouth can't even, if it looked like the fish was going to take a breath, you got a disqualification, or you got a deduction. I was like, oh my gosh, this is serious. And the tail being perfect. So it made it hard, because I'm an angler who loves to get out there on the water, catch a fish, take a quick picture, put it back in the water, and go about my business to catch another one. But that one definitely made me, I learned a lot. I definitely try it again, but I don't know if that will be something that I will do, for a long-term thing.
Yeah, you're not really a tournament type person. I mean, you like to
Not
have
yet.
fun with it and participate a little bit, but you ought to try it, man. It's a lot of fun. We like the brotherhood of it, and like the sisterhood too, brothers and sisters. I mean, some of my favorite events are the in-person events, and a lot of times we camp and we all meet up that weekend. You got all these people in the campground that are doing these events, and you see kayaks everywhere, and you're talking to people that are doing the tournament with you. And even though you're competing with each other, you're still talking. You're still talking about fishing. You're still talking about kayaking and creating friendships. And I don't know how many friendships I've made since I've started kayak fishing in tournaments. And we'd have a few drinks around the campfire, and it would be great, man. That's my favorite part of this whole sport, I think, is that brotherhood, that sisterhood of just being out there and meeting friends and just fishing.
Well, and what you're saying, I agree with you 100%. Like I said, the one that I did was online, but I am actually doing a tournament, a women's only tournament, that will be on October 5th at Lake Athens, Texas. And I am actually doing it for that purpose, is to get out there and meet some women anglers and just go out and enjoy the day with, people who have the same interests as me. And then I know we're going to do another tournament. I believe it's the following weekend, but it's for fun, just for fun. And it's more of mainly going out and meeting some of these great people that I follow on Instagram and Facebook, and actually getting to know these people. I think that's what's going to be really, really neat for me.
The women's only tournament sounds really neat. That's cool. I think we have in our trail, we only have a few, 2 or maybe 3 women that do it.
Yeah, 3 or 4
Really?
women.
Yeah.
Wow.
So a women's only tournament, that sounds really cool.
Yeah, I'm hoping that we, start getting it out to more and more women anglers to participate, because this is such a great, in like the 2 years that I've actually started kayak fishing, I am so amazed at how many people have, really are starting to love it and want to do it more and more. You're starting to see that. More and more each day in the kayaking industry, especially.
You can see that in the industry, just how many new companies are coming out with new boats and different setup, and you got companies starting up that are just for kayaking gear. I agree with you. It's getting really popular. It's growing.
Oh wow, yeah. Like I said, in the 2 years that I've been doing it, like the first year, I saw a lot of people kayaking, and then all of a sudden, like recently in this last year, it's taken off. There's more and more people doing it, which I think is great. I think, we need to get more and more people out there, and because fishing it's a great time.
Oh, definitely. So let's do our game. We have this little game we play, and I kind of went into the rules with you earlier. It's a fishing scenario game, and we'll think of some few scenarios for you, usually 3, the last one being kind of silly. Have you thought of any, Brian? Because I have a couple.
No, I was trying to think of something about the Buckeyes in Texas, but I couldn't really come up with anything.
Yeah, your last one was pretty good. Your funny one. So here's number one. Say you're going to your favorite river and you cannot use a fluke. All the flukes in Bass Pro are gone. All of them in Walmart are gone. Everything. You can't get yourself a fluke. How are you going to fish?
Ned rig.
Ned rig. Oh, you like that Ned rig.
And you know what's funny is that I really have been trying so hard to catch fish on the Ned rig because I see it everywhere and everybody makes it sound like, oh my God, I catch so many fish. And I've tried and tried and I haven't had any luck. And I went out to the river the other day and went, you know what, I'm going to try this Ned rig. And I caught 25 to 30 bass.
Wow.
Sounds like a good day.
Just on the Ned rig. Yeah, I mean, they loved it. Loved it.
Wow, that's awesome. Sweet. So here's a second scenario. We'll try something else. Say it's wintertime there in Texas. Do you do any wintertime fishing?
Oh, yeah.
So it's wintertime. Say it's middle of February. Now, I've never been to Texas, but I don't imagine it gets real cold down there where you have to deal with ice on the water. But what are you fishing for, say, pond-wise? Say you got a farm pond you want to fish one day in the middle of February down there in Texas. What are you throwing and how are you fishing it?
Let's see. In February, I was fishing anything on the bottom as slow as possible. Texas rig, worm, maybe the fluke. I mean, I probably put on a fluke and I Texas rigged it with a weight, and just dragged it along the bottom. Anything slow. I mean, it's so hard to find those fish, when it's that cold, but it's at the bottom. I don't have a fish finder, so I really just kind of go off of, my surroundings, and I look for a lot of brush piles and grass and trees and shrubs and, anything like that. Points, that you can fish off of, and then I just see what I come up with.
Oh, wow.
And slow fishing it like that without a fish finder, you can feel the bottom, you can feel the structure, you can kind of figure it out that way. So,
yep, absolutely.
Wow, that's a great answer. Number 3, go ahead.
How cold does it get down there in February?
What is the cold? We've had probably what, 22 degrees, 22 degrees or lower. Yeah. Okay. I mean,
colder
we've had. Yeah, it's cold. I mean, more times than none, though. I mean, in the 20, we've had snow, ice, but not very often.
So nothing ever really freezes over. You can't ice fish anywhere.
No, although that would be something fun I would love to do.
Yeah. So
I see Christine Fisher. I see some of the girls that I follow on Instagram, and they do that ice fishing. I'm like, oh my God, that looks like so much fun.
Yeah, I've never been ice fishing where I was in a little caddy and, you have a cup of warm coffee or hot cocoa or something, and you're kind of sitting back there with a heater. Like we went out before and I had a hunting blind, and it was just like a little 2-person hunting blind. It wasn't very big, and we would drill the hole down there in the ice. You had a big auger. We would drill that hole out, and then we would set up that blind and have a little heater inside. But man, it gets so cold up here in Ohio. We have single-digit days, negatives during the night sometimes. And I remember that was in the middle of February, and it was awful cold. And we ended up toughing it out, though. Had our Carhartts on, and we caught some bluegill. Didn't really get into bass or nothing. But that would be a lot of fun to get into to ice fishing. So that sort of leads into my my third question, the silly one. So say you had to pack your bags right now, come up here to northern Michigan, and do some ice fishing out there on Lake Michigan, what would you bring with you?
Lots of warm clothes.
What would you
Lots
fish
of
for?
warm. I don't know. I would have to go and find somebody there to direct me and help me. Whatever. I mean,
They
it would
pull
be a
some
new
big
venture
muskie out
for
of the
me.
ice up there.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I mean,
Oh.
it'd be a whole new adventure for me, and that's why they're called adventures. You get out there and you try something different.
Oh yeah, they always pull the record. Seems like the record walleye during the ice fishing season is when you see those monsters get caught. A lot of them get caught all year round, but it seems like ice fishing, you always see them big monster walleyes getting pulled up. I mean, that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, it's funny. You're talking about cold weather. I have a funny story. We went fishing in February.
Uh-oh.
Seems like you cut out. They're driving down the road. They might have cut out on us for a minute. So we'll get back right with yous back when we get service again. And here is a word from our sponsors, Venom Lures in Lancaster, Ohio. They're known for their great soft plastics and terminal tackle. They've been providing quality products from right here in Ohio since 1984. Mr. Dustin Carnes is the new owner and inventor of the DK rig. It's a weedless version of the Ned rig that's taken the fishing world by storm. You can check them out at venomlures.com. Our next one is Strictly Sail. It's located on Kenwood Road in Blue Ash, Ohio. They sell Hobie, New Canoe, Feel Freeze, Three Waters, Johnny Boats, and they've been providing high quality service to fishermen and watercraft enthusiasts since 1978. Reach out to Brian Tacey at 513-984-1907, or you can check them out at strictlysailinc.com. We have American Tackle, baby, the inventors of the microwave line guide system. Great company, run by a great guy, Austin Todd. Definitely check them out. Their fishing rods are far superior. And then lastly, Real Fishing Company. They help make the logo of the Yak Legion. Great company. Check them out at realfishingco.com.
Starting your story. You said I got a funny story, and then
Oh,
go on.
so in February we went fishing and we were at Joe Pool Lake, and I needed to use the restroom. I had 3 pairs of pants on. I had probably 2 sleeve shirts and a jacket on, and we were on the New Canoe Frontier. Well, of course, I have so much space, and being a chick, I had to use a bucket to pee in, and I set it on my seat, pulled my pants down, and I fell in. And guess where my life vest was? Sitting on the kayak like a dummy. And with all that weight that I had on me, I was sinking very fast and I panicked. Thank God my husband wasn't far, and I swam to the bank, and he came over, and of course, when I gathered all my wits, I laughed my butt off because my pants were halfway down as I'm trying to catch my breath, keep my head above water. But I learned a very valuable lesson that day. I said I will never go without my life vest ever again. I was very lucky, but it was funny.
Yeah. Definitely sounds funny, but yeah, this could be very dangerous. I always wear my PFD. You can definitely, a lot of people lose their lives every year not wearing them. So yeah, that was part of my next question. We usually ask everybody a funny story or a tragic story. I think that was a little bit of both.
Right, there you go. I gave you 2 in 1.
Do you have any more stories? Like, what? Tell us a story of how you caught that big 6-pound bass you caught.
I was at Wheeler, so my husband and kid were on their kayak on the other side. I was fishing in shallow water, throwing my fluke. I found some grass. I threw up in there, and I hooked into it, and I have it on video. It was really great. Then I FaceTime my husband, and I'm like, look at this fish I just caught. And of course, they come over there. I was like, holy cow, I weighed it. It was my new PB. I think this year I caught 3 new PBs this year. I went all the way from 5.8 ounces to 6. I went 5.9 and then 6.1.
That's awesome.
Wow.
I'm going little bits at a time. I'm not trying to overdo
it.
That's awesome. So do you have any sponsors, any pro staffs, or any shout outs you want to give?
Yeah, absolutely. Anglers Pro Staff. That's where I got my Hobie kayak, and I get, majority of my fishing gear from them. Great people. I'd say if anybody's in this area, definitely go there. They have a whole setup of kayaks, anywhere from Hobie to the Vibe to
Pro Staff, Angler Pro Tackle.
Oh, Angler, yeah, it's not Angler Pro Staff, Angler Pro Tackle, sorry, and Outdoors. But yeah, they have a whole array of kayaks there, but phenomenal people. Then I have Lockett Lures Outlet. That's where I get a lot of my flukes from. I've been fishing with Zoom flukes for a while, but he makes some flukes that don't fall apart that fast. The Zooms, they seem to turn inside out a lot. And these flukes that Lockett Lures Outlet makes me are phenomenal. The durability of them is just outstanding. And then the Hobie fishing team that I just got announced to be a part of, and I'm excited to announce that on my Instagram and Facebook soon. So those are my 3. And then I've got Big Bass Dreams. I wear a lot of their hats. Majority of their hats in all my videos and photos are Big Bass Dreams. Greatest hats, the stitching, the quality, the colors, everything I love about them. And then sunglasses, I've got Viking eyewear that I wear.
Wow.
Good deal.
That's awesome. You got a lot of pro staff.
Well, maybe just a little. It's just stuff. I stand by stuff that I can actually represent. If it's something I can use and I'm catching, I will be more than happy to acknowledge you and let you know I'm all about helping people out.
Wow, that's awesome. Awesome. So how do people follow you online?
I have a Facebook page. It's Cher Karbassian. And then Instagram is also Cher Karbassian.
Tell them why it's Karbassian.
And then Karbassian is not my last name. My husband came up with the great idea of the name Karbassian. And my slogan is because I'm known for my big bass.
Do you give out your real name, or are you a mystery lady?
Oh no, I don't mind giving out my real name. My last name is Cohen.
Okay.
But I just like the name Karbassian, so we made a little fun thing out of it, so we've gone with that.
Oh, do you guys big Keeping Up with the Kardashian fans?
No, actually, when it first came out, I used to watch it all the time. I don't watch a lot of TV. If I'm doing anything, if I'm not fishing, I'm watching fishing. I watch a lot of fishing.
Oh, heck yeah. You big YouTube addict?
I like YouTube. I think I'm obsessed with everything Christine Fisher does, so yeah. I watch her a lot. There's quite a few other anglers that I pay attention to, and I just love learning. I'm not young anymore. I'm a little bit older, so as you get older, you start to want to learn, and I want to learn. I'm an obsessive personality, and this is a sport that I know I'll never conquer, but I'm going to learn as much as I possibly can.
That's awesome. So one last question. Everything you've learned and all your experience by now, what's the best piece of advice you can give somebody, a young man or a young woman, getting into this sport now?
I would have to say learn a lot. Wear your life vest at all times. No, there's no questions asked about that. I mean, you never know. I mean, don't take any chances.
Just go do it.
Just go do it. Have fun. Enjoy yourself. Don't get frustrated. Sometimes you catch fish, sometimes you don't. But I keep a journal of every fishing trip that I have. I write down how many fish I catch, the date, where I fished, what the winds were doing that day. You have to be able to learn from your experiences, and that is definitely a piece of advice I would have to say is the most important. Learn from each situation and, just do your best. Have fun.
Awesome. That's what we're all. Sorry, go ahead, Brian.
For any of the women listeners out there, what type of PFD would you recommend?
Well, like I told you about my Berkeley rod, was whatever cost effective, the money that I had at the moment to get. I have a great life vest that I got at some outlet, it's Gander outlets, and I love that. I love the Hobie PFDs that I see Christine Fisher wear, which I might be leaning towards, doing something a little bit smaller, because sometimes those life vests are big and bulky, and when it's the heat of the summer here in Texas, you don't want anything big and bulky. It makes it very difficult.
I know I said that was my last question, but I just thought of another one. You ever come into Alligator Gar down there? Because I know there's lakes and rivers are full of them down there in Texas.
Oh, yeah. It's funny is when we used to bank fish, we had a creek that ran out of Lake Arlington, and I would catch alligator gar on my light tackle, and I'd bring it in, and my daughter would scream because she didn't want anywhere near those things, and I would have to try every way to get their mouth shut and get the hook out of their mouth.
You just caught one.
But yeah, I caught one on a crankbait, caught it on, they're everywhere here, but they're fun. They put up a fight. It's a blast, but they're nasty fish.
Oh, yeah. And you guys got to deal with alligators too, right? You ever fight an alligator off for your bass?
Nope, never seen any. I'm hoping to keep it that way.
Oh, I got you. Well, Cher, I really appreciate you coming on the show. It was a joy to talk to you. We'll be posting this here in a few weeks. I'll let you know when, and maybe we'll have you on again in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed it.
Yes,
thank you.
It was nice meeting you guys.
Oh,
You
yeah.
too.
You too. Have a good night, and thanks everybody for listening.